Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. Nick Marro here with Smitty and Occupy Fantasy, as always, helping you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slates on both DraftKings and FanDuel. We got a nice 9 game slate tonight on both sites. FanDuel did us the favor I've been asking for and isn't including the late games. So the games will be relevant for both sites. It's the NBA Cup. So, again, there is some incentive for teams to keep guys in if they're blowing them out. Point differential, I guess, matters when they're kind of tallying things up for the next round. Not something we need to really quantify too much. But Smitty, looks like a pretty decent slate coming in. Obviously, a lot of value opening up. What's your initial thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I like this slate. Pretty big slate, but you can kind of break that down to just a few games, or not a few, but some of the games are kind of cross offs. I think there's some good games we want to attack and prioritize most of those guys.
Yep, for sure. HB card saying Hornets plus Nets equal money. Got Ben Jizzy here. Appreciate you, my man. Lucas, yeah, you guys know I'm a Nets fan. We'll definitely get deep in the Nets tonight, unfortunately. Heath, Nick Lovett, appreciate you guys. Jose, Robert Hauser as well. Just pulling up the comments quick, guys. Not going to have too much time for pleasantries today. Really going to dig in here. Nick Lovett saying Trey Mann getting busy tonight for the Hornets. Yeah, he looks very popular. But let's go through game by game as we always do. And guys, just a little bit of a production note. I ordered my dinner like over an hour ago. I might have to run to the door. So if I disappear for a second, we'll just lean on Smitty for that 60 seconds. It should be here any minute. But let's get into this, though. Sick of waiting around for that. We got the Boston Celtics here taking on the Orlando Magic. This game does lock at 7 p.m. Eastern. Celtics are slight underdogs on the road here, taking on Orlando. Obviously, no Jason Tatum for them. Other than that, they got a few G Leaguers listed here. Xavier Tillman is out for personal reasons, but most of their regular rotational pieces are in and available. Orlando, kind of known as this great defensive team. It does seem like they're kind of rounding into form now. First week or two of the season, definitely allowing more fantasy points to opponents than they were last year. But 226.5 point total here, kind of on the low end. I think Brown, White, and Pritchard are always viable. Really tough to call one a priority over the others. I will say Brown feels the safest of that group, but at the same time, I think you can make a case for any of them. That's really going to be it for me, Smitty, when it comes to the Boston Celtics. Just tough to get to any of these secondary pieces for me right now. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. Hard to call them a priority at all. I like Jalen Brown the most. He's also the most expensive, but in a competitive game, don't mind going there. And then Kata's minutes are a little more secure without Xavier Tillman out there. It's basically just him and Garza. So I don't mind getting to a little bit of Kata. And then that's pretty much it. I will mention Simons' price is probably too low for the ceiling and minutes that he can play. So I don't mind that in GPPs. But overall, it's not a very appealing game.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see him that cheap. I know he hasn't been producing, but certainly
Yeah.
has enough of an upside to justify that. And I do like the Kata shout. There are a lot of good centers in that price range, but if you're looking to get different, he definitely makes some sense. Over on the Orlando side of things, Paulo Banchero's been playing excellent. Really, no significant injuries here. Mo Wagner is going to be out. No surprise to see Paulo at the top of the model for Orlando. He looks pretty damn good here. Nobody getting to him. Obviously, there's more appealing options in better matchups, but I do think in tournaments he makes some sense. One of those centers that I do have some interest in is Wendell Carter Jr., just a little bit too cheap for what he's capable of. Very inconsistent, though, so certainly more of a tournament play. Not crazy about the price on Franz, especially on DK. I do like Paulo, though. I will say in tournaments, he's someone I do want to get some exposure to. Smitty, how you feeling about Orlando? And also, just quickly to note, does seem like Suggs is still on a minutes limit, has yet to play more than 20 this season.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at too. I think Palo looks pretty good. I kind of think he's underprojected around the industry, so he's probably going to come in about what we have him, 2%. So if you're playing more than even in a 20 max, I think you get 5%. Looks pretty good to be overweight on him. And then on FanDuel, Franz is in play. That $700 difference is pretty big, so I don't mind that on FanDuel, but not touching him on DraftKings.
Yep. Jose asking which two studs we'll be building around. We'll definitely get to that, Jose. I do think Giannis is one of them. But yeah, a lot of good guards to choose from. But yeah, that's the first game. And again, just to summarize, no real core plays there. At the same time, they're all low owned. So if you want to mix in a little bit, definitely a good way to get different in tournaments. Next game at 7 o'clock, we have the Cavs as big favorites on the road here, taking on the Wizards. 240.5 point total, much higher than that other game. But at the same time, I mean, it's another game that's kind of tough to get to. With so many options on the slate, you have to be a little bit concerned about the blowout. Donovan Mitchell seems rejuvenated because he got crap talked to him on I don't know, what was he playing, NBA
2K.
2K or something
Yeah.
online. Yeah, yeah, I love that story. But now that he's back, it does feel like some of these other guys are a little bit overpriced. Garland back now as well. So just a tough team for me to get to with any sort of aggression. I mean, Hunter's in and available. Jared Allen's back again. This team has been banged up. They've been missing some key pieces, but this is about as healthy as I think they've been all season. Uh, Hunter listed as probable. No Lonzo Ball, but he's been playing limited minutes. No Struess or Dean Wade, but I don't think that's enough for me to want to get to someone like Merrill or anything off the bench. Smitty, any love for the Cavs here? It is a soft defense they're facing, and they will be paced up.
Yeah, not really. Pretty tough to get to. I think Donovan Mitchell is my favorite here just because he has a ceiling. Even if this game blows out, he's probably one of them doing it. So I don't mind getting there, but that's pretty much it.
Yep, yep. We got some good combos going on about which everyone's favorite payout cards are in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Always like that we got some good discourse going there. Over on the Washington side of things, Bilal Coulibaly is out and Kaishan George is questionable. George had some huge games earlier in the season with Bilal Coulibaly out, so it's kind of funny that the first day that Bilal is going to be resting, George might be resting as well. I will say if we get word that both are out, you can maybe look to someone like CJ McCollum. Justin Champagnie, near minimum price as a starter, 19 minutes, 22 fantasy points against Boston. Is he safe? No, but if you're looking to jam in an extra pay up option, I don't think it's crazy to get a starter in there. Just keep in mind, you're going to want to check the model. Make sure that George is out first because right now we have him for just 14 minutes. Other than that, not much. I will say Sarr has been pretty impressive. Obviously, second year player, not even playing 30 minutes consistently, but he has been putting up numbers. Much tougher matchup here than what he saw against Boston last time out, though, or even against the Knicks the game before. Cleveland, one of the better defensive front courts in all of basketball. So take that when you are considering playing Alexander Sarr. Not much here from you, Smitty, honestly, regardless of how this injury news breaks out. Are you having the Wizards in many of your lineups this evening?
It's mainly just the cheap guys for me. Like you said, Champagne, I think he's playable. Definitely would prefer not to go there, but if it gets me Giannis or someone like that, then if that's what makes it work, I think he's playable. Bub Carrington should start, so I don't mind going there. 4K. He is point guard, and we have some other good point guards on the slate, so it makes it tough, but he's at least playable. Sar is a good center option. We have a lot of good centers, but he's either going for like 50 or he's going for 20. So he's a good GPP play. After that, not a whole lot. Pretty rough matchup. You go to like Trey Johnson off the bench, assuming George is out. That's pretty much it.
Yep, right there with you, man. Now we'll get into my Nets here. We got the Pistons taking on the Nets. Pistons are favorites. No surprise there on the road here. Starting on the Detroit side of things, no Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey. Karis LeVert is questionable. Marcus Sasser is going to be out. So pretty much the regular rotations for them. Obviously, Harris out is key, but he's been out for a few games. We've seen Isaiah Stewart sliding into the starting lineup, starting alongside Durant at the four. I'm imagining that's what we're going to see here once again. But Cade, 4 straight games now, over 50 fantasy points, does finally seem to be locked in. Took him a little bit of time to get going this season, but good matchup. If this game stays close, I'm a little bit surprised that he's not more popular. Obviously, we do have other pay up options to consider, but he looks really good to me here. Jalen Duren's been playing exceptionally well. I think he had almost a double double in the first half last time out against Utah. Finished with 57 fantasy points in 34 minutes. Oscar Thompson, his minutes of climb has been playing pretty well. And then, yeah, I mentioned him earlier, Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart. As long as he continues to start, he does feel underpriced, especially on FanDuel at 5,100. Night to night, I mean, he's not always going to be involved in the offense. Against Utah, just a 13% usage. Against Dallas, just 14. But when he saw 27 against Memphis, almost hit 60 fantasy points. So while I do think he's a little bit over-owned, he's tough to ignore here, assuming he is starting again. Levert being in or out doesn't really change much for me. But I do like Cade. I do like Duren. Stewart, really, really appealing at his price point. And then Oster, fine to me as well. Yeah, tough not to like some Detroit here, Smitty. Which of these guys are you keying in on?
Yep, pretty similar. I think Duran's definitely playable. Asar and Isaiah Stewart are both probably underpriced for the roles that they're going to have. And then Ron Holland is as well on DraftKings specifically. Don't mind any of them. I think Holland, Stewart, and Asar, one of them probably has a pretty good game. I don't know which one, but it seems like one of them should get there. And then Cade, of course, looks great. And then Duncan is in play, I guess. Um, but that's pretty much it for Detroit. I don't want to steal Nick's Nets.
Yeah, this is hilarious, the timing of the world, right?
Yeah.
So I just got the call to get my order. I'm going to let you start on the Nets, and I'll come back and I'll go in hard on the Nets. So just
All
give me
right.
2 minutes. I'll be right back, and we'll dig into these.
Sounds good. So for Brooklyn, we have Haywood Highsmith's out. Cam Thomas is out. He went out second half of last game. Tyrese Martin started the second half for him. Played pretty well. The only issue that I find with like Tyrese Martin, he's not really a plug and play type of guy, and they've had like an extra day to prepare for this. So I could see them getting more guys involved and just kind of lengthen the rotation. So I'm not sure he's like a stone cold lock, but he makes things work. So I'm still getting there. Would prefer to get away if we do get some better options, but he's cheap. He makes things work. Noah Clowney started last game. Think he's definitely in play. Right now, I'm getting to around the field on him. I think he's a pretty good play. Um, After that, Terrence Mann's probably one of my favorite. Just going to be asked to do a lot more without Cam Thomas out there. Not that Cam Thomas does anything other than shoot, but I think you could definitely get to Terrence Mann. He pops as the top value in our model, so I like that. And if you're not playing Tyrese Martin, I think it makes sense, even on a big slate, to get to like Terrence Mann. He's kind of the pivot there. At the high end of pricing, we have MPJ and Nick Claxton. I think Claxton's matchup's kind of brutal with Isaiah Stewart starting. So as much as I like playing Claxton, especially when he's low owned, it's kind of tough to get there. But MPJ, if this game does stay close, it's probably him. Like he's probably the only one. So I like getting to MPJ.
All right, so first, gonna apologize. My breath, I had to run down the street. We're good. And Smitty, yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna repeat some of the stuff you already said, right? So, whew, all right, catching my breath. I'm in bad shape, I'm realizing. Anyway, speaking of bad shape, we got the Nets here. Terrence Mann, honestly, my favorite play from this group, just because I think they're going to rely on him to do some ball handling, whether he's running the point or not. I don't think it matters. Continues to produce at a pretty high level. Tyrese Martin, probably going to start a point guard. Tougher for me to trust. But yeah, hold on just a second here. Again, appreciate you guys bearing with us. Obviously, this is not the ideal scenario. But yeah, taking a look here. Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. obviously has the upside with Cam Thomas out. He's going to take 100 shots if he can and keep this game close. But do you want to pay 7K for a guy who's probably going to be double teamed and is probably going to miss the third quarter if the Nets are blown down here? I don't know that I'm going to. Let's see who else. Mentioned Tyrese Martin. If Clowney starts at the 4, I think he's another guy we have to consider. And I think it's very likely we see him in there because Stewart's probably going to be starting for Detroit. So if the Nets are going big, I actually think Clowney for value is very appealing, even on FanDuel, where he's a little bit more expensive. What else we got going here, man? Feel
I
free to
like
cut me off
Clowney.
while I catch my breath. I'm a mess.
The one I didn't touch on that I need your opinion on is Zaire Williams in play.
Yeah, yeah. Zaire is going to be a big part of this rotation. He's only had one like really good fantasy game, but I think even off the bench, his minutes are probably a little bit low in our model compared to some of these other guys. He could run the point himself. They've done it at times, even with Jordan as the coach. So like when you look at this roster, they have no real point guards. Like they got it's kind of like the Mavericks in some ways. Igor is, but he's a rookie. He's not going to play 20 minutes. Tyrese Martin's probably going to get the start, but I think Man and Zaire are more appealing just because of what they're capable of. I know um, I don't know. As a team, they do feel kind of overowned just because we do have 9 games to choose from. But I don't know. I guess if I'm ranking them, I would say Terrence Mann's my favorite net tonight, followed by Noah Clowney, point per dollar. As risky as that sounds, I'm fine getting the Claxton. I just think we have other centers we can pivot to. Porter's good. Definitely a tournament play, though. He has a very high ceiling, but a very low floor. Um, and again, I should have just probably left my food on the porch, but I appreciate you guys being with us. Did we get any questions about the Nets? Again, I'm all over the place right now.
I didn't
I think we're good.
see.
Yeah, AL is asking about Clowney. Like I said, I like him, and he is one of the guys I think could play into the fourth, even if the Nets are getting blown out. He's a second year player. Um, like guys like Mann, Porter, Claxton, they're going to get rested in a blowout. Uh, Dayron Sharp could become viable, but again, you're kind of playing for the blowout there. Clowney kind of is the best of both worlds, in my opinion. So, yeah. Yeah, I should have just walked Power. I would have been able to kind of catch my breath. But all right, Smitty, I'm going to move on to the next team here, and you're going to start once again so I can kind of
All right.
collect myself. Appreciate you guys, though. As always, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Wizards we already talked about. This is comedy. We got the Houston Rockets here taking on the Spurs. So, Rockets are favorites on the road. They've been playing excellent. Obviously, big squad here taking on Wemby in San Antonio. One of the lower totals on the slate, though, 224.5 points. Wemby actually coming off a pretty disappointing game. But let's start on the Houston side of things. Steven Adams is questionable. No Dorian Finney-Smith or Fred VanVleet. But yeah, man, I mean, KD never gets owned. I think he's fine as an upside play. Eamon Thompson continues to produce at a high level, but both sites really raised his price now. He's over 8K, which is going to drive that ownership down. Sengun is good if you're paying up at center. I do think we have so much value at center. He's kind of tough to get to. And Jabari Smith is not on the injury report. I don't mind getting to Easton a little bit, but he feels a little bit overpriced now because some of those big games that changed his price came with Jabari out. So I do like Houston here. I like Thompson. I think Durant's a good tournament flyer, but tough for me to call anything a true priority. Smitty, how about you?
Yep. Pretty similar here. If we do get Steven Adams out, I think it just kind of strengthens Eason and Jabari. I think they both look a little bit better. KD is my favorite at the high end. You could always play Amon Thompson. Scores better on FanDuel, so would prefer him there. But decent matchup for KD. Don't mind getting to him, but really no priorities at all.
And yeah, I appreciate the comments, guys. Definitely. And we just got word from Rocket Sauce that Steven Adams is in. So definitely maybe cuts into the minutes of some of the rest of that front court. Over on the Spurs side of things, though, it sounds like De'Aaron Fox is going to make his debut tomorrow. So that's something to look out for. He is out today, though. No Dylan Harper, no Luke Cornett. Kelly Olynyk and Jeremy Sochan are both questionable. We're probably going to get this news any second now. But for now, I mean, whenever you can get Wemby sub 5% owned, do I like him more than Giannis? No. Do I like him more than Giddy or Cade? No and no. But if you're looking to get different in tournaments, just play Wemby, and you could kind of eat chalk value with everything else. I think it's a pretty good way to get different, even against a solid defensive team in Houston. Stephon Castle looks fine to me here, pretty much priced where he should be. Devin Vassell hasn't been shooting the ball well, but I think with Harper out and Fox out, he does have a bit of a ceiling. Really fine with Wemby, Castle, Vassell here. That's kind of it for me, Smitty. I'm going to keep an eye on the Olynyk stuff. I guess if he's in, you could use him as a punt, but would only be on FanDuel for me because I don't really want to use that center spot on him. Any love for the Spurs from you? It is a tough matchup.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I like Castle always, but probably going to have Amon on him, and he's just appropriately priced on a slate where we have some underpriced players. So don't mind the Vassal shout at all. I think that's a pretty good call. Don't mind that, and then Wimby, whenever you can get him low owned, I think you take your shot. So I like going to Wimby, being overweight there.
Yep. And going back now, guys, checking out some comments. Obviously, I was running around like an idiot during the net stuff. Really important comment here from Rocket Sauce, though. Small sample size. Claxton is excellent fantasy point per production without Cam Thomas. So Claxton actually ranks second in assists for big men behind Jokic this season, as well as like a bunch of other advanced stats and converting those to points. So Claxton kind of plays like point center a little bit with these guards off the floor, so he's definitely a play I want to get to. But again, on Smitty's last note on the Spurs, decent team, but against Houston on such a big slate, kind of a tough spot to get to. All right, I think my breath is fully back now. I think we can keep plugging away here. We got a very interesting game for fantasy between the Toronto Raptors and the Atlanta Hawks. 234.5 point total. I actually thought this one would be a little bit higher, but on the Toronto side, no significant injuries. So this is a healthy team. But there's a lot of pieces here that I think we can be considering, starting with Scotty Barnes. Has really shown a lot of upside on DK at 8,300. To me, that feels a little bit too cheap. RJ Barrett, if you can't afford him, another guy who's been heavily involved. Same with Brandon Ingram. Those are the three I have interest in, but I do want to make note, I don't think I'd want more than one in a lineup unless I was really leaning into a game stack and something large field. But Barnes, Barrett, Ingram in that order, all are kind of appealing as tournament plays to me. I'm fine just leaving quickly out of the equation. I think we have enough guard value. He hasn't really been spiking the upside that those others have. And then with Podol back, the front court's kind of a mess. We get the rookie CMB, Sandro getting minutes here and there. But really, it's just the wings for me, Smitty. How about you when it comes to the Raptors?
Yeah, pretty similar. I do think this game's pretty appealing to get to, and there's not much ownership, especially on the Toronto side. So I'm pretty interested in this game. I think Barnes looks like a really good mid-level pay up, and then RJ Barrett, you could argue, is underpriced for the role he's had, and also the minutes he's been getting. So I think them two are my favorite. Don't mind if I get to quickly or an Ingram, but definitely prefer Scotty and RJ.
Let me ask you this, Smitty. Are you comfortable playing Barnes and Barrett in the same lineup?
Probably not on this slate. I don't have any currently, and if I was hand building, I definitely wouldn't.
Yeah, I would. It would take some like ATL run backs to really lean into this game for me to get there. I don't think I'm going to be. But over on the Atlanta side of things, obviously, no Trey Young is going to be significant. Other than that, Luke Kennard is questionable. He has been a part of the rotation, but a little bit under-owned, I think the Hawks are compared to some of the other teams on this slate. We see Jalen Johnson. He's getting expensive. Still really solid play. Alexander Walker at 6K flat, 5,800 on FanDuel. Similar price to Quickly. I think he's actually lower owned than Quickly, at least on one of the sites. I'm fine getting to him, man. He's been shooting the ball a ton. Obviously, kind of scoring dependent, but this is like the perfect matchup for him, in my opinion. We have him pushing 33 minutes. So, Alexander Walker, one of my favorite tournament plays. And I like on DK that you could play him at forward or point guard. That's very, very valuable. Porzingis feels a little bit underpriced here as well. Not a bad matchup against this Toronto front court. But yeah, I mean, Johnson, nah, Porzingis, and even a little bit of Dyson Daniels, who is tough to get to on DK, but on FanDuel, where you're getting the extra points for stocks, I do think he's kind of appealing over there. Three, okay, let me make sure I get this right. 15 total steals in his last 5 games. So he's averaging 3 steals a game over his last 5 is Daniels. Obviously, the extra point for the steals over there on FanDuel makes him kind of appealing. But Alexander Walker, to me, going to be a big part of my tournament builds. I like Johnson, Porzingis, and Daniels as well. Smitty, how about you on the Hawks?
Yeah, they did rule Kennard out, so I think that even does help NAW a little bit more. So I like Alexander Walker. Jalen Johnson at the top looks good. Porzingis, someone I'm going to be slightly overweight to. And then the only one you didn't mention that I have some interest in with Kennard out is Risachet. I think could help his minutes upside a little bit. He had a good game last time, and the minutes still weren't great. So that kind of worried me a little bit. But maybe with Kennard out, they let him run a little bit more. So I don't mind him as a pivot to some of the Brooklyn value.
Yeah, that's actually a great shout. That was a nationally televised game against Orlando. He was doing everything in that first half. Only ended up playing 25 minutes, but finished with 30 plus fantasy points against a pretty good defense there in Orlando. So great, great shout on Risa Shea. Definitely someone I'm comfortable mixing in at a pretty thin position when it comes to value compared to center or guard. So really appreciate that shout. We are getting some news in the chat. Appreciate you guys keeping us up to date. Some of these questions, though, I always try to focus on the questions that are on the games we're talking about. But Bab, I'll get to you real quick. Fine playing KD with Wemby since we already talked about that game. No Keaton Wallace for me. How about you, Smitty? I'd definitely rather just get to Zachary Sachet.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And if we miss a question, guys, feel free to ask it again. Again, we're scrolling here fast. Porter, Wagner, or Barrett on FanDuel. I think it's Porter for ceiling, Barrett for floor. Kind of leaning Barrett personally. Smitty, how about you?
Yeah, I lean Barrett too. Pretty tough.
And Power, we're about to get our first Smitty politically correct hell no. Don't know exactly what we're referring to, but I'm all for it. Appreciate you guys as always. Let's get into this 8 o'clock window now, and we're getting a ton of questions about Trey Man. So we'll start with him. But on the Charlotte side of things, let me pull up the total. We got a 235.5 point total. He are favorites at home. Not too wide of a spread though. I thought we could see something a little bit wider. But starting on the Charlotte side of things, no LaMelo Ball, no Josh Green, no Brandon Miller. Colin Sexton, doubtful. Obviously, he's going to be out, and Grant Williams is out as well. So, Trey Mann is the guy everyone's asking about. I mean, we look at the model 67% owned on DK, 71 over on FanDuel. Tough to get away from, right? He plays ISO ball. This is a guy who creates his own shot. I don't think there's anyone else on this team that can do that with LaMelo out and Miller out as well. So, Trey Man to me is just good chalk. I think even if this game were to get out of hand, he could easily hit value in 3 quarters. Con Canuple, the rookie, very scoring dependent, but he's shown he has a ton of upside when he is making his threes. Fine mixing him in. Miles Bridges looks really good here as well. Man and Bridges are the two that I trust the most. Everything else feels a little bit iffy to me, Canuple included. I think he's over-owned. But KJ Simpson, I mean, he's shown to have decent fantasy point per minute upside. We haven't seen him play more than 21 minutes yet, though, this season, so I proceed with some caution on him. And then the front court gets a little bit tricky because we have Kalkbrenner and Diabate there. I don't know. I think one of them has a good game. Who's it going to be tonight? I don't know. I'd rather just go elsewhere at center, and we'll talk about one of those in the same game in just a minute. But for me, Man is a core play. Bridges close behind him. Smitty, how are you breaking down Charlotte here?
Yeah, as long as Man starts, I think he looks really good. I think there's even a possibility KJ starts, but who knows? I think Man looks good. Have a ton of Man. I like Con. I think Con looks good. Miles Bridges, if you're looking for his price range, I think he looks pretty solid. Um, and then after that, I mean, there's a lot of guys on this team that are playable. Like I think Sion James, he's going to see a ton of minutes. He don't do much offensively when he's out there, but he's going to be asked to do a little bit more. So you might get more. Plus his defensive stats, probably more of a FanDuel play, but I think he's at least in play. After that, like you mentioned in the centers, it's kind of too big of a slate, but I don't mind taking shots on Calc if I was going to play one of them.
Yeah, Kelk has been getting more minutes consistently. I do want to just mention on Canuple, I kind of said I thought he was overowned, but hearing you a little bit more bullish on him, I'm digging a little deeper. And he's been getting rebounds, man. 3 straight games, 6+ boards for a guy that I kind of pegged as scoring dependent. That's great to see. Taking 8+3s in 4 of his last 5 games as well. So Con Canuple, while he can be volatile, he does have a low floor. He's hitting that ceiling more often than even I'm giving him credit for. So probably about where he should be when it comes to ownership. Over on the Miami side of things, a bunch of injury news here to dissect as well. No Bam Adebayo, obviously no Tyler Hero still. The rookie Kisparis Jakusionis, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, is in and available. Talented kid. I don't know what the minutes are going to look like. I don't think we have to go there tonight. Norm Powell, who's been out, is in and available. Kind of a tricky spot here, man. We're getting a lot of questions about Khalil Ware. I do think he's one of the best center plays on the slate. We have him for 28 minutes. Pretty much every game where he's playing that many minutes, he's hitting value pretty easily. Not a bad matchup for him either. Affordable on both sites. You can even play him at forward over on FanDuel, which makes him even easier to get to over there. I like Ware a lot. I don't mind Powell. Those are the two I have interest in. And I will say, Jaquez getting no love off the bench here. With a few of these guys out, he's shown that even when he's not starting, he could produce at a really high level. So if you're looking to get a little bit different, I do think Jaime Jaquez is underrepresented on both sites, especially on DK, even though you're paying a premium for him. I like what he's capable of when it comes to his ceiling. This is a guy who has 40 to 50 fantasy point upside in a matchup like this. But again, if there is a core play here, it is Khalil Ware. Norm Powell close behind him for me, though. I really like both of these guys. Smitty, how are you breaking down the Miami Heat?
Yeah, I like Khalil Ware a lot. It's hard because I like some of the centers on this slate, and then I compare him to Khalil Ware, and it's not even comparable. Ware against the Hornets looks like a really good play. I'm going to have a ton of him. And then you mentioned a few. I know Pele Larson did get a late Q tag, so if he misses,
Mhm.
who knows who they'll start. But I'm kind of thinking maybe they start Jovic, but I don't know. So I don't mind getting to like a little bit of Jovic, but he's center only on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's power forward, so definitely more appealing there. Other than that, like you mentioned, Norm Powell, I think is playable, and then Davion Mitchell on FanDuel looks like a strong play.
Yeah, if Larson's out, I'm with you. I think it would be Jovic. There are smaller slates this year where I've been bullish on Fontecchio. I do think he could see a few extra three attempts here, but it's not enough on a slate this big with the price increase. Like if he was 3K flat, I probably would be touting him, but he's not. So we can just leave Simone in the dust on this one, but definitely an appealing game when it comes to fantasy. We got another 8 o'clock game here between the Bulls and the Bucks. Another very important game for fantasy. Starting on the Bull side of things, Ayo is questionable once again. Still no Kobe White or Zach Collins. Shout out Josh Giddey. DK does their like King of the Court promotion, 95 in bonus bets from picking him the other night. But he's been an absolute beast. Continues to produce at a high level, not only scoring but rebounds, assists. I mean, close to a triple double every single night. Usage north of 30% in that span, and taking on decent defenses as well against the Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. I actually think this matchup is even more favorable for him, albeit on the road. So we got some questions earlier, like who are you paying up for? I think Giannis is one for me. Giddy is probably two. I like the game correlation as well. You could certainly make a case for Cade, Wemby, Johnson, etc. But if I can fit any two studs on the slate in one lineup for me, it's going to be a lot of Giddy and Giannis. Keep in mind the field is getting there in a big way as well. Vucevic playing more minutes than I think we expected coming into the season. Fine getting to him here. Trey Jones, he's been hit or miss. Again, kind of a guy you could mix in, but I don't know. Buzelis as well, kind of the same thing, but a forward instead of a guard. It's really just Giddy here for me, man, and I like him a ton. 27% owned now. The field's right there with me. I don't think I'm really uncovering anything too, uh, I don't know, contrarian or shocking. Smitty, go ahead and break down the Bulls for us.
Yeah, I think you did it well. It's basically Giddy, and then I'm getting like a few percent of Io, assuming he's in Vucevic. Then I also think Herter's at least playable, but it's mainly just Giddy for me. Going to be playing quite a bit of Giddy, and then I like Giannis as well, so it makes sense to have both of them in lineup.
Yep, and I'll use your mention of Giannis to segue into the Bucks. Alex Antetokounmpo is out tonight, not to be confused with his brother. Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be out as well, as is Torian Prince. So Ryan Rollins has really emerged as a solid point guard. Coming off two bad games though now on the road against Toronto and Indy. Maybe he gets right here. He had a ton of great games on at home on that homestand before the road trip. So maybe we see him get right here. I don't mind mixing him in. Miles Turner, this isn't a bad matchup for him where he's going to be able to kind of stretch Vooch out beyond the 3 point arc, maybe take a few shots, but tough to really call anything a priority here other than Giannis. I think if you can afford Giannis, he's the no-brainer pay up here. High total games, should be competitive. Love the correlation with Giddy. Just checks all those boxes. I will say Cole Anthony off the bench has been producing enough as like a last piece in. You could maybe consider him. Gary Trent obviously could get hot from three, but again, the priority for me here is Giannis. I don't think I'm really rocking the world with that one though. How are you breaking down the box?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. It's Giannis or nobody really for me. I think Giannis looks really good. He's pretty much the Bucks. So if this game's competitive, Giannis is likely having a good game. Aside from your like occasional Rollins or Cole Anthony blow up. So I like getting to Giannis.
Yep, and we have one more game to get through, guys, and we do have plenty of time for the dummy builds on DraftKings and FanDuel today. Again, appreciate FanDuel cutting off those late games just so we have the same slate on both sites. But one more 8 o'clock game here between the Mavericks and the Grizzlies, two teams that have been struggling. 232.5 point total. Grizzlies are slight favorites at home. So Dallas, historically bad offensive production to start the season. Big part of that's just not having Kyrie or AD, which is really absorbing most of that salary. But kind of took Jason Kidd a little bit too long to figure out that they need a point guard in the starting lineup. D'Lo did finally start at point guard last time out, and funnily enough, he had his worst game in a couple of weeks. So tricky situation there. there. Cooper Flag, obviously, I've made it known that I'm pretty high on him as a player. Coming off his best fantasy game of the season against the Pelicans, where he did get to 43 fantasy points, he's fine. Just kind of a last piece in for me, though. We'll say the same for PJ Washington, who probably is a little bit safer. The one Dallas Maverick I am keying in on here, though, is going to be Daniel Gafford. I think if you're looking for a pivot off where, not that you need one, but if you're on DK and you could play two centers, Gafford makes a ton of sense. Fields getting to him as well, but the minutes are a little bit concerning, only 24 in his last two games, but over 30 fantasy points in those games as well. So I like Gafford a lot here. Other than that, can't really call anything a priority. I think Russell, Flag, Washington are all fine to mix in. But again, this team has just been historically bad offensively, which is usually a bad thing when it comes to fantasy production. Smitty, how are you breaking down the Dallas Mavericks?
Yep. I think you said it well. Gafford for me is number one. PJ Washington, don't mind taking shots there. If they start the same lineup where D'Lo's starting, I don't mind taking shots on D'Lo and GPPs, mainly on FanDuel where he's a little bit cheaper. If he's playing well, he's probably going to play the minutes, and then
Yep.
if he starts, I also like Cooper Flag more. If Cooper
Yeah.
Flag's the starting point guard, then I don't really have a ton of interest. But when they play him as a big, he's going to be a lot better for fantasy. So don't mind going to Cooper Flag if D'Lo starts. But that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. Flag again. He's shooting well below his like college and high school career averages, which is to be expected as you get into the NBA. But I actually think he's on the bad end of variance for his shooting. And yeah, Jay Kidd earlier in the season said we're going to throw him in at point guard and see how he does. We want to make him uncomfortable. It's like, why do you want to make your 18-year-old rookie uncomfortable? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm a big Jay Kidd fan. Just seems like terrible coaching there right now in Dallas is what it is. Over on the Memphis side of things, John Morant, kind of the talk of the town right now. It seems like he and Memphis may be parting ways at some point. Just hasn't really been good for them to start the season, but he is too cheap on FanDuel. It's kind of tough to get away from him at 7,800. Again, great matchup for him too here against Dallas. He looks great over on FanDuel. On DK at 12%, I'm pretty comfortable coming in under that. But if you're playing cash games or low risk on FanDuel, I do think he's kind of a necessary evil. Jaren Jackson looks okay. Just too many other forwards in that range I prefer. And that's really it for me for Memphis, man. Just a little bit of jaw on FanDuel. And yeah, just another team that's been struggling for the most part. How are you breaking down the Grizzlies?
Yeah, I actually like Ja quite a bit, especially on FanDuel where his price is a lot lower. But even on DraftKings, Dallas don't play defense, neither do the Grizzlies. So I kind of see this game playing pretty good. So I like Ja. I mean, there's definitely risk there. He's basically said he just don't like basketball anymore. So there's concern, but I'm getting to Ja. And then Cedric Coward's the only other one that I'm kind of interested in on FanDuel specifically, where he kind of scores better and his price better. He's been playing about 30 minutes. We've seen his minutes increase. Probably closes as long as this game's competitive. So I don't mind getting to a little bit.
Yeah, Coward, another really talented young player. Definitely one to keep an eye on, regardless of whether you're playing him or not tonight. But yeah, John, the price on FanDuel is just wrong. Kind of is what it is. Let's get to a few questions here, real quick. Power, obviously, with the comedic relief. Giannis doesn't let anybody else shoot. He's like Debo. Nobody has any power over him. I think that's your second Friday reference. Today it's actually Friday, so appreciate you, my man. Jose asking best cheap center. It's got to be Ware for me. I do think if you consider Claxton cheap, he's someone who's in that group, as is Gafford, but probably Khalil Ware over all of them for me, Smitty. How about you?
Yeah, it's Ware for me. Ware and then
Yeah, we
probably
got Duck asking the same question. So, yeah, I think we're on the Ware train here. Hopefully he can deliver. Appreciate you, Robert Hauser, excuse me. But yeah, let's get in this. No relation to Sam Hauser. I think that's spelled differently. Let's start on DK, man, and let's start with Ware, since it seems like we're both on him. And let's go man and man, I think. Both
Yeah, I like
mans.
that.
You cool with that? Cool.
Yeah. Let's see if we can fit Giddy and Giannis.
Yep, that was my next thought. So we are on the same page here. Love it. Love the Giddy Giannis combo.
We probably need
Okay,
at least one
47.
more Charlotte piece.
Hmm.
I like
I mean,
Con, but it's up to
yeah,
you.
we go con. I know I kind of like poo pooed the ownership, but 5,800, I mean, it's kind of where he should be. I'm
Yeah.
comfortable with it. We got to go really cheap now. I mean, we could go to like a Tyrese Martin. Oh, Zach Ricochet. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's go Ricochet. And then 4K left. What are we left with here? It's going to be like Zaire or
Yep. Is Tyrese
Tyrese
Martin over
Martin.
here?
Yeah. If Tyrese Martin starts, it is what it is. He's safer than this whole group. Like, I don't know. I don't see anything else here that's really. I mean, you could go to Zaire, but Tyrese Martin does feel safer.
Yeah.
So, pretty strong build, honestly. We're getting the two studs we want. We're getting the good chalk, our favorite center. Looks good. Oh, Power's got another one for us.
Oh yeah,
Clowney.
Clowney.
Did we not talk about Utah, Minnesota, or
Oh yeah, we
is that
didn't,
my
huh?
bad? Oh,
I didn't
okay.
even
Well, we
notice
did our
that.
dummy bill. HB Cards, appreciate you helping out with the production today, but we did forget to talk about Utah, Minnesota. I was like, damn, we made such good time. But let's go back, and I don't think it's going to change much for us in terms of our dummy build, except maybe at center because Nurkic looks good here. It's just the prices come up on him, almost 1K more than Khalil Ware now. But we have no Walker Kessler who's out for the year. Other than that, no significant injuries. Not the best matchup here for Utah, but I will say Laurie, Keontae George both look fine. Those are two kind of secondary plays for me. I do like Nurk, but I would rank him behind Ware. I'd probably rank him ahead of Gafford, but not by much. Again, dealing with Gobert, not ideal necessarily for someone like Nurkic. But yeah, definitely worth mentioning until that price continues to climb with Kessler out. Smitty, how are you breaking down the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. On DraftKings, I think it's kind of hard to get to Nurk at that price when we have a Khalil Ware, Daniel Gafford, just some guys that are cheaper that have similar upsides. So kind of tough to get there, but he's definitely playable. And then Keontae and Laurie, they have ceiling, so I don't mind getting to either of them, but tough to really call either a priority.
Yep, on the Minnesota side of things, pretty good spot for them. Being completely honest, they're pretty big favorites here, though. So if we're talking about blowouts in some of the other games, this one honestly has similar concern. But Dante DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards, and Rob Dillingham are all available. Terrence Shannon's going to be out. Not that that's major league influential, or it's not changing much in so many words. And though at his price, I do think he's worth mixing in. I would much rather be playing Giddy if I'm being completely honest. But if you're playing several lineups, looking for a way to get different, I don't think it's crazy. I think Randall's overpriced now that Ant's back, and I can kind of say the same for even Chenzo, even Conley off the bench. Like they're going to become cheaper as they play more games here with Edwards. So other than Ant himself, I don't have a ton of interest. And I know Gobert's been spiking some upside lately, but I think part of that is that Conley was the starting point guard. Again, this is a bit of a tinfoil theory. I have to actually look into the data, but he tends to be much better in terms of fantasy production with Mike Conley kind of running that pick and roll to him. So I like Ant here. That's pretty much it for me for Minnesota, man. And how about you?
Yeah, exactly the same. At the top end, I do think Ant's definitely a strong play. Someone that I'm going to be slightly overweight to, so I like him on both sides.
Power says Ant's going to be playing 2K by the end of the third quarter. You never know, man. But yeah, I don't think we're changing anything in this dummy, right? I don't think there was anything from
No,
Minnesota or Utah we need, right?
no,
No. Cool. Okay, let's do FanDuel now, and it's nice that we have the actual same slate. But I think Jaw's price is too low over here. Got to get to him.
yeah,
Feel free to throw some names at me. We'll get to where.
probably Trey Man.
Yeah, we got where is forward over here, so we could throw a center in with him, which is really nice.
Let's
Um,
see.
I don't mind Claxton. I don't mind Nurk. I don't mind Gafford. One of those three, probably.
Yeah, I like all of them too. It's tough to pick. Khan's
Well,
even
we
cheaper here.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I'd have him. I think a little bit behind the other. Let's go ahead and throw Giannis in. Let's jam in Giddy, and then maybe it forces our hand a little bit. We got to go cheap at some of these other spots.
Uh, Davion's point guard only. Um, I like
Small
Khan
phone.
Knuppel.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he's even cheaper over here, isn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a little bit.
shooting guard.
I mean, we use Ricochet in the other one. I think Alexander Walker at 58 is kind of a bargain.
Yeah,
Um, and then if we do go cheap at center, say we do go down to like a Gafford, that leaves us with just 4,500. But I do like this lineup. No real issues with anything here. Tyrese Martin again. Max
see,
Christie. Go ahead.
that's what I was saying. It's like I build my lineups, and I'm like, I want to get away from Tyrese, and then he's just always sitting there. So I just end up on him.
Yeah, let me check if there's another because we could play Trey Man at shooting guard over here. Doesn't
Could play
change
Davion
much.
Mitchell.
Yeah, if we go Davion, we might have
But
to find
then,
an extra 100 for
yeah.
man, but you guys can get creative. You're smart people. Again, we got Sexton out. A couple of questions here, guys. If you got any last second questions, feel free to get them in. We got Jayhawk today over the Discord. I'm gonna actually be on tomorrow. I get to check with who. Is it you, Smitty?
I don't
Tomorrow's
know.
show. I'm on with Eric tomorrow for the first time this year. That should be fun. Looking forward to that. Also, going to be doing UFC, I think, at 2 p.m. for those who are into that. KJ or Carrington on DK? I take it KJ. Are we
Simpson,
talking about
probably.
Keisha? Oh, yeah. God. Trey Man. I guess it's Bub if Kaishan's out.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, Torian. I mean, I think there's safer guards. Does Turner have a chance to get decent value? I'd say yeah, especially at low ownership. He's spiked upside. We can see it. It's just there's safer centers in that price range. But yeah, as a way to get different, Doug, I don't mind it at all. More questions about Simpson. Is he starting or something? Did I miss? I definitely
No,
prefer Trey Man.
not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, if KJ Simpson starts, I like it more than I do right now. We did get word that Pell Larson's in for Miami and takes away from the secondary guys. AO's in for Chicago, doesn't change much. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not crazy about KJ, but as a pivot off of Trey, man, it's not insane. Yeah, Power you and MMA. Another fun Apex card tomorrow. Hopefully, no FBI involvement. But appreciate you guys as always tuning in. It's been a fun show. Had to run around, catch my breath, and appreciate you guys having my back when things like that go down. But as always, good luck tonight. Hope to see you in the Discord. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out the links in the description below. Get access to the model we use in the video, lineup builder, Discord access, and then the voice chat, which Jayhawk is going to be running right now up until lock. So have fun, everyone. Smitty, any last thoughts? Otherwise, we're out of here.
Nope. Good luck.
Take care, everyone. Good luck.